Miley Cyrus. You know I'm a Miley fan. I mean, I don't listen to her music. I don't really listen to any modern music, but I kind of get a kick out of her because she says things that are at least contrary to what the liberals always believe sometimes, and I think she's got a good voice, and I always loved Party in the USA. So here is Miley Cyrus explaining her divorce.
I have to slow down because this is like actually serious. So Glastonbury was in June, which was when the decision had been made that me and Liam's commitment to being married just really came from, of course, a place of love first, because we've been together for 10 years, but also from a place of trauma and just trying to rebuild as quickly as we could. The day of the show was the day that I had decided that it was no longer going to work in my life to be in that relationship. So that was another moment where the work, the performance, the character came first. And I guess that's why it's now so important to me for that to not be the case, that the human comes first.
Notice how clinical and controlled Miley is here. If you're listening to this, and I bring up this story not because I care about celebrity gossip with Miley Cyrus, but because it tells you a lot about how to engage in society and a lot about how our political order works. Miley is reading off an iPad. She's got her words written out perfectly here, and she's being very controlled. She goes, and that was the moment at which I decided that this relationship was not going to work in my life. And it's all this really vague clinical language. But then she goes, look, I've always just worked, okay? And the show must go on. And I was working too much. And I think she's implying here the reason her marriage fell apart was because she and her husband just were too focused on their careers and just always put their work, which is show business, first above everything else. And I think that's what a lot of people do. A lot of people put their jobs first. That's a cause of a lot of marital strain. A lot of people put their careers first and their education and their settling into their professional life first. That's why they don't get married until sometimes it's too late or it's much more difficult to get married. This is why they don't have kids. They put off having kids until very often it's too late. And it's a lie. It's a scam. And they come to regret it. And the people who get suckered in by even something that seems noble, getting on your hustle and working hard and putting the show first, even they will come to regret that very often. Because you want to work hard and you want to be serious in your professional life and you want to have good material means, but that's not everything. Right now, text Knowles to 989898. Vladimir Putin called the US dollar's drop in dominance, quote, objective and irreversible, as Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa formally agreed to use local currencies in trade instead of the US dollar. As demand for the dollar weakens, the buying power of the dollar weakens. That is why Birch Gold is busier than ever. Investors and savers are looking to harness the power of physical gold held in a tax-sheltered IRA. You can too. You can protect your IRA or 401k by diversifying with gold from Birch Gold. As the US dollar continues to receive pressure from foreign countries, digital currency and central banks arm yourself with information on how to protect your savings. Learn if gold is right for you too. Text Knowles, KNWLES, to 989898. They will send you a free info kit on gold. With an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, thousands of happy customers, and countless 5-star reviews, I trust Birch Gold to help you diversify into gold. If central bank digital currency becomes a reality, it will be nice to have some gold to depend on. Right now, text Knowles, KNWLES, to 989898. You want to put on a good show. Everybody's performing these days. Not only are we at the point of society where everyone's going to be famous for 15 minutes, everyone is famous, at least at a local level, whenever they want to be, because we're always all performing for TikTok and Instagram and Snapchat and Facebook and whatever, Twitter. So we're all always performing. Sometimes we put that show first. And this reminds me of a line that a Dante professor of mine told me once in Italy. I was in my wayward youth, I was briefly a professional actor. And this Dante professor of mine, he said, yes, Migaluzzo, I wanted to be an actor as a young boy. I took it very seriously. My mother discouraged it. She told me, there's the door, you want to be an actor, there's the door. But I thought about it. And I felt so sorry for him. And I said, oh no, Professor, you never got to be an actor. You never got to live out your dream. And he said, Migaluzzo, I used to want to be an actor, but now I am the real thing. And I love that line. I use that line. Yeah, I used to be an actor, Now I'm the real thing, and it's better to be the real thing. It's very nice to play a married woman on a sitcom or in a movie. I'm sure Miley Cyrus enjoys doing that. It is better to actually be a wife and a mother. It's better to be the real thing. It's true for men too. I'm sure it's fun being a rock. I've never been a rock star, but I'm sure it's fun to be a rock star and to play this kind of character where you're just beloved by everybody. It's better to be beloved by your family, who actually will continue to care for you once the music dies down, where that's a deeper kind of love and commitment and reality. It's better to be the real thing. Meghan Markle gave up being an actual princess so that she could audition to try to play princesses in Hollywood. That's how backwards our society. We love the semblance of the thing, but we're so afraid of the reality of it because we're afraid of commitment, because we're afraid of commitment not just to another person, not just to circumstances and a home and a place, but a commitment even to an idea, even to the truth. So we go out and we perform. Even modern spirituality, we make these vague gestures about the universe, man, and like the spirits and the vibes, but we don't actually commit to religious belief because that would then impose certain obligations on us. Because if you really think that, your prayers do something, then that raises the question, well, how do they do something? Who hears our prayers? Who answers our prayers? What does he, God, demand of us as a result of that line of thinking? Theology, which is faith-seeking understanding. We don't want any of that. So we just keep making these half-hearted gestures. We just keep playing roles in movies, on TikTok, in our daily lives. And that will leave us empty. The show is good, but the real thing is a lot better. Now, speaking of the show must go on, got some good news a few days ago. I'm finally getting to it now. You remember in the spring, I gave a talk at the University of Pittsburgh, and this was protested. It was the last in a series of talks. One was with my colleague, Cabot Phillips. One was with Riley Gaines, my fellow Tennessean. And then the final one was me. And the left in Pittsburgh and Pennsylvania was very upset that I was speaking because at CPAC, I made a comment that was obviously true and which the libs were furious about. But it's a comment that I'm not allowed to say on YouTube. I think you know which one I'm talking about. About eradication from public life entirely. And so there were something like 11,000 signatures against my coming. The university tried to shut it down. The local politicians tried to shut it down. Antifa terrorists tried to shut it down by throwing an explosive at the building while we were walking on stage. Still, though, we were able to go on. They kept threatening. They set the street on fire. They were rioting. At the very end of our debate, the cops basically rushed us off stage and out of the building. So we had to cancel the meet and greet, had to cancel some of the events we had afterward. And then the University of Pittsburgh tried to punish the college Republicans for having the audacity to host me by charging them an $18,000, almost $19,000 security fee. And ISI, the group that brought me, the Intercollegiate Studies Institute, and the College Republicans, they fought back really hard, and Pitt got a lot of bad press, and now they are no longer requiring the CRs to pay that fee. That fee was effectively a conservatives on campus fee. That was the fee to say, hey, we're a public university and we're not allowed to stop you from bringing ordinary conservatives to campus, but we're gonna punish you for it. We're gonna bankrupt you if you ever actually do it. And so it was very important that Pitt backed down, and those jerks over at Pitt finally called uncle, and that's great news. And it's great news especially because my new speech season is approaching. We're launching it this month. I'll give you the full rundown of schools in a few weeks. We got some great schools this semester. We're gonna launch it September 26th at Georgetown. So if you're in Washington, D.C., head on over. I think you can reserve tickets now. So go check it out. I'll see you in D.C. And please don't throw any explosives at me. And if you do, I hope Georgetown doesn't try to charge us all like $20,000 just for having ducked and missed the explosive. Boy, what a great clip that was. Now, make sure that you ring that bell. Subscribe to the Michael Knowles YouTube channel. See you next time.